Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the Dumb Questions Podcast, episode 2. With me again is Jordan Wilson.
Hi.
I'm Andrew Garcia. And today we're going to go a little deep. It's a big topic. We'll probably come back to it again eventually.
Oh, yeah, there's so many layers to it, but yeah, definitely.
Today we want to talk about free will and if we have any. So
free will. Yeah, that's a huge topic, like we were just saying. There's a lot of layers to it and a lot of things to kind of break down. But, free will, we're basically talking about the ability to choose, and especially in life, the ability to choose your path in life, what you do in life, how your outcome is determined. There's a lot of different ways that people look at that. A lot of people say, well, there's already a preset, determined plan for me. Yeah. Or some people say God has a plan for me, and this is all, or I have a destiny. Yeah. Or this is what I'm meant to do or meant to be. And then there's some people that say, I choose what I do, I make my own decisions, and I'm going at life however I want. There's really no right or wrong answer to that.
Because we don't know.
Because we really don't know.
No one said it yet. But, like I was telling you before, I'm on the fence, either or.
Uh-huh.
Like I told you before, I like to think I have full control over what I do, what I've become, where I want to go, even why I choose to wear I wear.
Yeah.
But I don't know where. I want to know where. Where does it stem from? That decision making, the ripple effects from being 1 year old to or whenever it starts affecting you.
Yeah.
To make all your little decisions influences. What do you think? Do you think it starts from a very early age, or do you think it changes from year to year?
Well, my opinion is you have free will. You have the ability to choose whatever you want to do. There's no preset life set out for you. There's no this path that you're going on, because we're not robots.
Right.
You have the ability to make your own choices. Now, what I think people get confused with, and a lot of people that think, well, there's already a plan for me, is that we're not conscious of the decisions that we make, and we're not really conscious of how those decisions affect our life. It could, something you do today can affect you 10 years from now, and you don't know it and don't really understand it. And that's where we go from conscious to subconscious, and of what we're really actually conscious of happening in our life. So I think that's a lot where people get confused with, because they're not really aware of their thoughts and not really aware of the decisions that they're making, other than just the direct decision of, I want to pick this water bottle up, or I want to go to the store, or I want to do this.
Do you think there's a little conflict, though, with that? Because, people make a decision, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really thinking about what they're doing in detail, because to them at that moment it might not have much value.
Uh-huh.
But do you think that also conflicts with the idea of living in the now? Not worrying about the future. Just enjoy now, today. That whole thing, is it a little bit of conflict, do you think?
Yeah. I mean, it's all what you think, because if you say, well, I'm just living in the now, I'm not worried about the future.
Yeah.
Now, is that coming from someone who believes that they already have a plan or a destiny, or is that coming from somebody that believes that they have the ability to choose what they want?
I guess that's true. It's a person-to-person case, I guess. What about the whole God has a plan for me? We don't have to dive into religion yet. We can do that at a later date.
Yeah,
but it's definitely a factor for people.
I think that people don't realize what they're capable of doing. So I think that either good or bad, they like to blame it on somebody else and someone higher.
So a fall guy, kind of.
Sure, because if I say that the life that I have is the life that I chose and the life that I made for myself. If it's a good life, I'm happy with that. Yeah. If it's a bad life, then I'm not happy with myself, and now I go into this deep, dark depression, and now I'm upset with my life.
Yeah.
But if I have somebody, a fall guy, somebody to blame it on, or somebody that is responsible for that, then I can say to myself, and maybe it's just easier for me to understand that of, well, this happened to me, good or bad, God has a plan for me.
Yeah, it's a lesson. It's a lesson.
Right, it's a lesson. It's a lesson that I'm learning, which it is a lesson. Everything is a lesson.
Everything is a lesson, yeah.
But but I think that's easier for people to look at.
Yeah.
They go, well, it's the same thing of, well, kids, I didn't want to do this today. My mom told me that I didn't have to go. So guess what happens? I tell my friend who was supposed to be going to the same thing, my mom won't let me go.
Right.
That's so much easier for me to say to say that than say, well, I didn't really want to go at all anyways. I mean, just simple things. And the other thing of, with that is, we go back to free will, because I don't want to go too far into that of, God has a plan for me, because I think all at the same time, it's everybody and has something that they want to be able to fall back on with that. Because if you blame it, if you put it all completely on yourself, whether it's good or bad, you have to blame yourself. Whereas I look at that as I have the ability to choose, and no one is controlling what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So if no one's controlling what I do, and I have the ability to choose, when you choose, you make a decision. You decide that that's what you're going to do. And then from there, you just do it.
And see, here's the tricky thing. I'm with you on that.
Uh-huh.
The thing I always think about, though, is like, okay, today I'm going to start dressing like a hipster,
Sure.
And I decide that that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
But then I started to think, well, what in my past affected me to now come to this point in realization that that's what I want to do?
Okay.
Was it something I might have seen on TV a long time ago
Sure.
that now kind of clicks with me for whatever reason? I always wonder, like, is that still free will, even though you're affected by something that had nothing to do with your choice or influence or where you were born or what year you were born? Like, say you're pre-internet versus when you're born with the internet, like all that kind of stuff. I think it has a lot to do with how we roll our lives.
Well, circumstances. So we're talking about circumstances
that affect our character.
Yeah.
That which in turn affect our thoughts and our decision making.
Yeah. So we're talking about you said pre-internet times and things like that. So free will to choose from the things that are around you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's all and again, I don't think you're a product of your circumstances. I think you're a product of your opportunities. And you make the life out of what you have now. You don't know that there's no internet if there wasn't internet.
But you think that you don't think you're a product of your circumstances, but you do think you're a product of your opportunities. What if your circumstances are there are no opportunities?
I don't believe in that.
No?
No, not at all.
Not at all?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Because the world, if we just talk about just the world in general, there's everything here that you need to be successful and everything that you need, and anything that's not here, you don't know about it anyways. So it really doesn't matter, right? So circumstances, now we can talk about any sort of circumstance, and you still are going to be able to have the same sort of opportunity. You can say, well, I grew up in a really poor family, which I did myself.
Yeah. What if you were born in another country?
What if you're born in another country?
Yeah.
How many immigrants do we have here in America?
Yeah, but how hard is it to get here? Not
how
all
hard?
But not all of them make it.
Hard?
Yeah.
How hard? Yeah, it's hard. Is it impossible?
So I'm saying a lot of those people don't make it because of those same circumstances. Some do. A lot do.
So I think if we look at that, if one person has done it, that means anybody can do it.
Right, but it doesn't mean the circumstances don't affect you in your decision making.
It can affect your decision making. Yeah, absolutely. But again, that's not. We're talking about does someone's circumstance affect their outcome?
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Okay.
I still now your decisions.
Yeah.
Your decisions of what you do. You can look at it and say, well, I'm from another country. It's nearly impossible to get out of this country that I'm in, and I want to come to America, for example. If one person's done it, that means anybody can do it.
So so that means like their mindset should be
absolutely
there is a way to do it.
There's a way. Yeah. And some people don't make it because they give up.
Yeah. Or they get killed.
Or they get killed.
Yeah.
Well, why did they get killed?
I don't know. Why did they get killed? They didn't believe in it?
It depends on what we're looking at. But I mean,
they didn't try hard enough? They didn't learn from the previous person's mistake, or
didn't make correct decisions or things. What I mean?
Right.
There's a lot of different things. I mean, yeah, and you've got to be able to prepare yourself.
That's what
mentally, physically.
I think if I break it down for me, I think it comes down to timing in life and opportunity.
Like and also that's why I say decisions.
Yeah, decisions and opportunity.
It's going to be that's like if I say, okay, well I'm gonna cross this river, and it's flowing faster than I can swim, and it's going to take me, the current's going to take me down and throw me off of a cliff, into a waterfall. But if I wait till it's frozen, I can walk across it. That's a decision that you're making. You can say, well, 20 people got killed trying to cross this river. One person made it across. Well, that person went in the summertime. The other person went in the wintertime. And the same thing. I went in the summertime when it was, when there was no snow on the ground, or vice versa. It's all in the decisions that you make too.
Yeah, definitely.
But with there's no circumstance, that will stop you from doing something. And especially even now, we got so much technology, people can say, well, what if somebody has no arms? What if they want arms? That's a possibility. They can get them. It's just how bad you want something. Yeah. And a lot of times, I think what it comes down to is we look at a lot of people that are failures, and we look at people that are successful in the exact same thing and go, well, look at how many people failed. Well, how many of those people actually wanted that?
The thing like with the arms and all that, like there was a point where that wasn't even an option though. I guess it's all circumstantial. I think it's still circumstantial.
Let's talk about an example then.
Like you brought up somebody doesn't have arms. Now
I've seen people drive with their feet.
Right, but what if that's not their only goal in life, to just drive? What if they want to do something that requires arms, and there's nothing they could do?
I think they would find a way. You've seen people find a way. They adapt.
But you understand, like that would change your decision making in almost everything.
It could, but then if you make a different decision, you no longer want that.
But even down to the point where, even if they like, I can do this, I will do this. There's a way to do it. I'm going to do it, but it's going to take me a little longer than everyone to do it.
Sure.
Which that alone changes a lot of like what happens down the line for them. You know what I mean? As far as decision makings in the future, because just those little zigs when they should have zagged kind of opportunities. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And I think
because it took them longer.
And I think also that we're much smarter than we think we are. And I think that we do a lot of things to ourselves, make decisions to set us up for things later on in the future. You might say, well, I want to start dressing like a hipster now.
Heck yeah.
Now this is my question is that from past and previous experiences that now make you want to dress like that? Or are you dressing like that because you're setting yourself up for something later on in the future that you want, that you're not able to consciously see? You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
So, like I said, I think you are much, much smarter than you realize. And I think you know the end goal, the end result of what you want, and you're working towards that. Sometimes it might not make sense to you, and you might wonder, well, why did this happen to me, good or bad? And, you're really curious about it. But at the end of the day, in the back of your mind, you know the plan. You know that this is part of your plan. Your own plan that you made of what you want.
It's tough. I think also it comes down to, you kind of touched on it, as like we think we're dumber than or not as smart as we are.
Yeah.
And I think I've heard someone say like we need to be taught how to learn.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Because we don't, for the majority, we don't learn.
No.
We don't learn. We went through school.
You memorize.
Yeah. You memorize. But do we actually learn? No, we don't learn anything because, we're from young kids, we're taught in school, memorize this and then write it down on a blank piece of paper. So read this and then repeat it. Read this and then repeat it. I remember in school, multiplication, we speed through it as fast as we could. And it wasn't that they wanted us to understand that this number times this number. You weren't calculating, you were just memorizing.
You memorized the picture.
Memorizing. Right, yeah. It's just all memorization.
Yeah.
History, we took history class. Why? It already happened. There's nothing that's going to change about it.
Exactly.
I think it's important to understand history because history repeats itself, but all we did was memorize things.
Yeah.
That's all they do now. And you go to become a doctor even. You go to school for 8 years, and you memorize how to do things.
Yeah, I think doctors for sure the only ones that if ever have to memorize anything might be them. But just for memorizing, just for
But memorizing anything though.
Yeah.
I mean, memorizing anything. It's whether you have a regular entry level job, or you have a management position, or you're doing something, you have your own business. A lot of things is not actually learning. You say you go through training, but you memorize how to do your job. You're not really consciously thinking of what is going on here. It's just memorization and repeating it.
Yeah, learn how to think and learn. Those two combos, how to formulate a thought and how to actually soak it up, like how to learn it, almost like a formula, but in an adaptive way. And I think
people need to learn how to learn.
Yeah.
And understand that we're just memorizing things a lot of times, and also learn how to think.
Yeah.
Actually think. If you sit back and watch, some conversations of people and stuff, you look at them and go, I don't even think they even understand what's going on. They might just be back and forth. Hey, Bob, how's everything going? Oh, good. The plant's running fine, and
it's like auto.
we're doing this. How's the wife and kids? Yeah, it's just auto response.
Yeah.
Auto response. It's really funny too, because sometimes I'll go into a grocery store, for example, and someone says, hi, did you find everything? Yeah, I found everything okay. Good, how's your day going? It's going terrible. That's good. It'll be $7.95.
Yeah. Even if they heard it, they don't know what to respond with.
Right. Or sometimes they'll go, and it you see them it almost looks like it hurts.
Right.
Because they're like, that's not the normal response I'm supposed to get, because now I can't repeat my normal response.
Right. Another one's with the guy who tears the ticket stub. He says, have a good time watching the movie. You're like, yeah, you too. It's like almost automatic, but you almost have to stop yourself. Like, no, don't say that. Like, he's not watching a movie.
Right.
You are.
Right. Or, you check into the gym. Yeah. Have a good workout. Thanks, you too.
Right. Yeah. I do that a few times. Yeah.
Dang it. Yeah.
It's funny, but I don't know. Like, I just know, like, growing up, in school, like, it was like you said, we just memorize stuff, and I think like we do need to learn history, but just the basics, just the touchstones and the building blocks, and then after that, it should be like just like people interactions, like me at work.
Mm-hmm.
I rarely have a real conversation at work. It's always auto responses or.
Totally.
I was telling my wife the other day, I'm like, I'll say something, or somebody will say something to me, and like, I know from the jump, we're not going to really talk about anything of any substance or any thought-provoking anything.
Yeah.
So I don't even try, because I know that they're not ready for that.
Right.
No,
not at all.
And no one's ready. No one's taught to be ready for that.
Yeah.
Especially at the workplace.
Yeah.
So.
Good morning. How are you? I'm doing great.
Yeah. Even though I just got here on a unicycle through a blizzard.
Yeah.
I'm doing great.
Doing great.
Yeah.
Or, it'd be funny too if someone came up to you and said, hi, how are you? I'd actually like to take the next 15 minutes to let you know.
Yeah.
Be like, no, I just wanted a response because that's what I'm supposed to say.
But that's true too. There's always a time and a place for these things, but it's just the fact that that's the norm. That's what bugs me.
It's the rat race.
Yeah, it's just like...
It's the rat race. We're turning ourselves into robots sometimes, Yeah. And I think we're eliminating our own free will by getting ourselves into mundane routines that we don't even understand is going on.
Have you heard of that? I forget, it was like a futurist. He said the humans are the sex organs of the robot world. Meaning we're pretty much the only thing creating them. And like that's all we're here for. Like we're giving birth to them, kind of thing. It's a weird idea.
It's a really weird concept.
Yeah.
But that whole thing I think is funny. Not that I don't use technology, and not that I don't appreciate technology or abuse it.
Right.
Yeah. But at the same time, we're taking away life from ourselves.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy walking and running and jumping and things like that, but now we have cars. We start out, we had horses. Let somebody else do this for us.
Right.
Let somebody else do that for us. Let somebody else do that for us. Eventually, we're trying to make life easier. Why are we trying to make life easier? Yeah, luxuries, but we're trying to make life easier. Why? Because people go, well, I want to enjoy life. Well, those things don't make any sense to me. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I use technology myself, and there's a lot of great advances that we've made.
You need downtime sometimes.
Yeah, but at the same time, if we look at it in the same way of, you know, if I went to you and said, Andrew, I'm your boss, and I said, hey, Andrew, I want you to figure out a way for this machine to do your job.
Mm-hmm.
Because eventually I'm going to fire you.
Yeah, that's what's happening. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But would you want to do that?
No.
No, but that's what we're doing to ourselves.
Yeah.
That's really what we're doing to ourselves. Let's figure out a robot that can clean my house, drive my car, make my food. They have, these little sex robots now, too, to where, like, now I don't even need a wife. What else? Yeah. Eventually, we're going to be like that movie WALL-E, where we're just all sitting in the chairs and they're like, the new color is blue. Oh.
Right. And that's cool. I mean, that's what's cool. I mean, we're using technology right now. It has its purpose, it has its time and its place. But just like I think of when you started talking about that, I automatically started thinking about people who retire. All of them get bored. They all get bored, and they want to do something. Why? Because we're meant to like do stuff.
Oh yeah, we're productive people.
Like I'm lazy, and I know I'd rather just be relaxing than running up a hill. But I know there's like times I just want to just run out the door and just start just doing something. Like I think we need to learn how to balance ourselves, and or at least realize what we're doing or taking away, like you said, from what we can actually enjoy if we just did it ourselves. So I don't know. I think we should run for president.
Yeah,
and just fix it.
Well, see, and that's a lot of things you can ask now. Where does that come from?
What?
Where does that? We've created, especially in America now, we've created a routine of we go through our entire lives, and mainly if we're in the workforce, we go through our entire lives to make life simpler. We spend our lives to try to make life simpler, right? Especially in these technology companies and these things that are booming and they're huge, and electronics, which are so inexpensive.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of other things, so inexpensive, but they cost so much money, and they, the market for jobs and everything is so high. I know somebody who works for some of these Apple and Google companies and LinkedIn and things like that, and they're making great money.
Yeah.
Why are they making great money? Because they're the ones that are trying to simplify life.
Yeah.
Right? So you have all these, and we take all these smart people and we put them into these, things. Google, you can take a nap at work. All your food is free. All these other things like keep you in here and keep you working and keep you like going,
kind of busy.
Keep you busy.
Yeah, but not doing anything.
We got to keep you even busier.
Yeah.
But also, we're in this routine, like I was saying, to make life easier.
Yeah.
But why?
Yeah, why?
But for what? That's the question. Why do we want life easier?
I think it comes from the fact that there was such a drastic change so quickly as far as foraging, to like having not living past 30. Yeah. And then like their parents didn't last past 20, and then now it's like, oh man, we have like all the stuff we can do. Like let's just make it easier. Let's make it easier because we don't want to go back to that. We're afraid of that because it sounded terrifying, and it is. I mean, I guess it would be to not have the advances in medicine and like not have to take a horse everywhere. Things like that. Like I think we're afraid of that, so that's why we kind of just like let's make everything as easy as possible.
Yeah, and I think we went to quantity over quality.
Yes.
I mean, and that's no, we're not just talking like materialistic things. We're talking about life, right? Because for me, I would rather live 10 years of my life, living my life, and just doing everything and anything I want to. Give me 10 years of good, just living my life and doing exactly what I want, and I'll trade that for 90 years of mundane routines and rat race.
Living in an old folks' home, being 102, yeah, you're alive, but you're not really alive.
But I mean, that's what we're saying. I gained, let's say even 20 years of my life.
Yeah.
All right. Well, from 80 to 100 sucked anyways. Why did I do? Why did I do that?
Yeah.
We want people to live longer so that we can get more things out of them, so that they can create an easier life. But really, and that's a really weird concept that you're talking about of like we're the ones creating robots to take over our own lives.
Yeah.
And it's really weird if we look at it in like a job setting of, hey, Jim, I want you to teach this person how to do your job so I can fire you in a month.
Yeah.
Nobody in their right mind is going to do that.
No.
But at the same time, we're trying to figure out how to make life easier so that people can get through life faster. Which is strange.
It's strange, but it's understandable. But like I said, I think we need a balance. We need to. I don't know. I don't have the answer for that. I don't know
Right.
where I would want because like Tesla, they have the self driving car. Other companies have self driving cars. I want that as an option.
Oh yeah, sure.
As an
I want that
option.
as an option.
You know, I want to be able to like if I'm super tired, I'm drunk. I don't want to take a cab or whatever. I just autopilot. Cool. But there's also times I want to enjoy the road. I want to drive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want the option. It should be a balance, or it shouldn't be an auto response to go for just the easiest thing.
Should be an understanding of what easy is and
How it
when and where
affects
you
you.
should use it. Yes, and how it affects you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what experiences is it? Are you gaining or not gaining from doing or not doing something yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like for me, like I want to start going hunting, and I want to eat my own food that I kill, or my own garden. Yeah, it'll suck. It'll be hard work. I probably won't like it at first. I'll probably like this sucks. That was a bad idea. But I know in the end, if I do it and I go through with it, I'll be like super happy
Because you worked for it.
because I worked for it.
Because
Yeah.
you worked for it. Yeah, and I think this is a weird concept too. Is we look at the Stonehenge, for example. We look at the pyramids. There's all these other like these. Talk about some of the 7 great wonders of the world, and some of them like how in the hell did they get there? The Stonehenge and the pyramids, for example, are some of the most interesting ones for me too. Do I think that thousands of slaves pushed bricks up there and made them completely level and even? No, I don't think so.
No.
No.
What's your theory?
My theory is, and it's a little scary because I see where we're going to now, is with what I'm saying was with technology now.
Oh, right.
Is that we've got a lot of people. We're going from. I see a couple different things where people are going to. I want to go back to this, for example, a healthy lifestyle of I want to hunt and I want to get my own food and I want to have a garden. I want to do these things myself because I just have this urge to want to be a normal human being.
Yeah.
And then on the other side we have, and you see a lot of that now. And then you see a lot of people, just technology. How do we make things better? How do we make things easier? How do we do these things? My theory on that is that one time, probably not too long ago, there was a lot of technology, and it might not be the same thing as far as cell phones and internet and all these things. There was a lot of technology.
I think we're on the same page.
Yeah, there was all these like awesome things going on, and then all of a sudden everybody had this desire and had this weird thought of, wait, we're not even humans anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We've literally completely taken ourselves out of existence to where we're not even necessary anymore, and we don't even need to get out of bed to like sustain life.
Right.
Hang on a second, let's reevaluate this. Okay, the only way for a human being in existence to stay in existence is to destroy all of this.
A reset.
We need a reset. But at the same time, and who knows what those hieroglyphics really read, it could say like, don't advance too much because you're going to look, you're going to build.
Don't go too far.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I think of those things as either one, a sign of, technology was here before, but it's not always best.
I mean, natural disasters happen too.
Sure.
And it might not have left leftovers or remnants of what their technology was because of the type they used. And like that's why we don't have any evidence of it. Who knows? Like they could have been far more advanced than us now.
Oh, much further advanced.
Yeah.
They could have been much further advanced, and like. It's
really
odd. There's a lot of things that they're not able to explain.
The problem with this conversation is there's a lot of people who might be listening who won't agree with that just for the mere fact that the date, how far back that would have to be, meaning that because God created us so
off of what measuring system?
Exactly, like.
But off of what measuring system?
What do you mean? Like, how do we know how far back it was?
Yeah.
Oh, like carbon dating and stuff like that.
Carbon dating. Where'd that come from?
Well, it's a measurement.
A measurement of what?
I personally don't know.
Well, one, I don't know either. But at the same time, if technology is advanced far enough to where you can create something, or what's going to be created,
you can like pre-age it.
Maybe.
Is that what you think?
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible.
Right. No,
you know what I mean?
But,
but if you're that, you know what I mean?
saying.
If you're that smart and you can think ahead, and who knows how smart they were back then,
Right.
They can go, okay, well, the only way that they're going to be able to
accept
certain this,
things,
later on down the line, is they're going to have to go back to carbon dating. So this product actually will come up as 1,000 years older than.
I mean,
this.
Have you heard that whole theory about dinosaur fossils are fake and dinosaurs didn't exist? Because they were just science. They find a little fragment and they just put plaster and they create whatever they think their imagination is, and
which is true.
You think so?
Yeah.
You don't think dinosaurs are real?
Oh, do I think dinosaurs are real? Yeah, I think dinosaurs were real.
So
do I think that a pterodactyl really looked like a pterodactyl, how it was?
No.
Have they ever found like complete skeletons? Yeah, some of them. But,
it still takes imagination to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, because science along with medicine is a practice.
Yeah, you're always learning.
We found a new study.
Yeah. Well, like back in the day.
What happened to the old one?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
well, it's not that anything happened to it. It's just they kept playing with the idea. And
they have a new discovery.
They found something else. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They have a new discovery, which means, that what they had originally thought before is not exactly what they thought now.
Kind of going back to the academic part of it, though, is I listen to a lot of podcasts where scientists go on and discuss stuff, and their main problems that they have is that a lot of teachers or professors have they have kind of like an ideology or an idea that they've been spilling out to their classrooms over and over year after year, and then when there is a discovery that might not have been true, they hold their ground and they disagree with it, and that shouldn't be the way it is. They should be adapting and peer reading what the new thing is and revising it. But
nobody wants to be wrong,
and that's the thing.
Yeah,
no one wants to be wrong.
Yeah, nobody.
So
wants
that's
to be
a
wrong.
big problem. And same thing with like the fossils. Like maybe someone is got caught in a lie, but they don't want to be wrong, and they're just not telling us about it. Like we're just repeating whatever they're telling us. And
well, I mean, very true. Some of those things. I mean, I've never seen a dinosaur bone in my life. I don't think.
A real, because you don't know what a real one looks
like.
If
it's a real one or not. Do I believe it? Yeah, some of the things. I do believe. But again, science is a practice, and I don't care what anybody says. Their opinions go into that. Whether it's your opinion of do you want to release this new finding or not, or this is my theory. Basically, this is my thought.
Well, there's science, and then there's mathematical facts too.
Well, yes.
Yeah. So there's a difference. Like there's some things with like a lot of things like there is. Like that, some science isn't just practice. Some science is science, but the way it interacts with other things might be the theory that they're working with,
which gives you a better understanding.
So they're, it's not that they're all full of crap,
right?
It's just that this building block is true. This one's true, but the one in the middle, okay, we figured out what piece goes there now. We kind of had an idea.
Now we know.
Yeah, but now we know. So I don't know, I just want to make that clear that I don't think that science is like a hoax.
Oh no, I love science.
Like
no, I mean science is I like that better than anything else because you actually have to prove it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's not just taking.
You've got to scientifically, mathematically prove things based off of systems that have been proven over and over again. And the same thing with carbon dating. It's almost. I mean, anything is possible, but at the same time, it's very difficult to
anything that we want
to be able to throw that off because if we figure out a system and I go, okay, well, I know for a fact that this is 100 years old, I can carbon date it back to 100 years. I use that same formula and I can do that back to 1,000 years. So very, very difficult to throw off. You know what I mean? Very, very difficult to throw off. But at the same time, we've advanced so much in life that even 100 years from now, ask somebody, how long would it take you to get from here to let's say 110 years ago or something before we even had flight or anything like that.
Right. Yeah.
They say, well, how long would it take you to get from here to Australia? I go, well, okay, I gotta drive all the way, to here to there. Then I gotta get in a boat, which a sailboat maybe at that time or something like that. You go, oh well,
couple days?
No, more than that. A couple hours? I don't know. No, you'd probably think, gosh, well, if it took Christopher Columbus, how long to get from
Have no clue.
to America? I don't know either. But if I said, hey, do you think let's say 100 years ago,
Yeah.
100, 110, 120 years ago, I go, hey Andrew, I'm gonna go to Australia. It's gonna take me 1 day to get there.
Okay.
You say you're an idiot.
Yeah.
100 years ago, I'd say you're an idiot.
Right. Yeah.
You're stupid for even thinking that. That's not even possible.
Yeah. And now it could be 150 years from now. It could be teleporting.
Right.
We don't
So right now it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to Australia. Be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And it's nearly impossible.
And like you mentioned, how you're saying like Columbus, how long did it take him? I instantly thought in my mind like, well, again, he could be BSing you just to sound cooler, and his influence, like, oh, it only took me like a month, just because.
Right, you're like, well, it only took you a month, so okay, it should only take me a month.
Right, but
Yeah.
and all that knowledge is being passed down. All has bias influence that we don't like. We weren't there. We don't know. Like it's so it's an interesting thing to think about. Like when people bring up the Bible or the Bhagavad Gita, like all those like religious things, like those are all written by people. No matter what.
Written by people.
Written by people.
Written by people, yeah.
With egos, and we all have egos at some level, and
I think even
it's hard to get out of the way of an ego.
Oh, for sure. And again, I think even if we talk about the Bible, for example, or some of those other books, I think it was written by a person, and it was from that person's mind.
Yeah.
Which
again comes back from. Why did they say that?
Why did they say that? Where did that come from?
Where did they come from?
And it's everything. To me, at the end of the day, is all up here.
Yeah,
it's all up here. You create in your mind your reality.
Have you ever heard of that? That kind of idea of the classic aliens, the big head, the big glass of eyes. You know? You ever heard that? That's because that's us in the future checking back on us, like. Because in the future, we're going to be so advanced, we don't need muscles to lift things. We're going to be using our minds, are going to be so strong. And we don't need to, physical conflict is not even a thing anymore because we're so advanced. And the reason we have big freaking eyes is because, like, those are our built-in sunglasses for the sun. We're just so advanced and we're just checking back on ourselves kind of thing. That's a weird thing to think about.
Wow. And, I've never heard of that before, but that's really crazy and makes me think of it. Which
they're all mind, like they're all just telekinetic. They all just you think something, I hear it. Like
which is totally true.
It's coming.
It's coming because if I can send you a signal, if I can send a signal on my cell phone to your cell phone, I should be able to do that with my mind.
Yeah.
We just don't really believe that it's possible yet.
Oh no, actually, 100% is possible. They've actually done it. I think they did it last year. They sent. It was from London to some other part of the world. It took like 30 seconds to transmit.
But a message, right, from someone's brain, right?
It was an image. They thought of an image. They were in a sealed room by themselves. I don't know the methods they used.
Right, but they did.
But they did it with technology. And the other person received it, and they that's what So they're working it out already. So it's coming.
Just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So aliens. I mean.
Not saying I believe in it, but it's just the idea is fun.
Do you believe in aliens?
I don't know. I can't say I don't believe in aliens. I say it's too vast to say no, but I say there's no evidence, so no, again.
I would agree with that. I would totally agree with that. I would also have to say that with as many, every star is whole other,
solar system.
Solar system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that for a long time. Is a whole other solar system. So,
I don't see why not.
Well, I think that if we think there isn't,
bastards.
We're the cockiest. Just like, and we're stupid.
I'm here. Everyone else is
to think
here.
That we are the only people in the world for who all we know. We're a science experiment in some kindergarten's petri dish.
Yeah.
That people are like,
or simulation. You ever heard of simulation theory?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Simulation theory, and I mean that's the other thing too. Is that like, and that's where I think two different things. One. Your reality is created in your mind.
No matter what.
It's all of what you see.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know that you're looking at the exact same thing as I am. And who knows what this world even looks like.
Yeah.
But through your eyes in my eyes, could be something completely different, and we describe it the exact same way because that's what we look at it as, and that's what you look at it as. And I can say, well, it's round, but what does round look like?
I mean, even if our rounds are similar, mine could be just slightly less round than your round, but we both know what we're going for. You know what I mean? It could just be slight differentials.
It could, and it could go as far as the way I describe it to you is what it feels like or looks like to me, but it's something completely different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing, colors.
Yeah, I think I've asked you that.
Colors when I see red, do you see red?
Yeah, the same red.
We will never know that.
Yeah.
We can determine some things by doing those little colorblind tests, which I fail at. But
well, here's
here's
another example of like how powerful our minds are. Like I said, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and some of them talk about psychedelics and crazy rituals and things they've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And people like, oh, I saw this, I died, and I saw this happen, I saw that happen, and it was gorgeous and like it was real.
Yeah.
And people, when they tell that to somebody, they're like, oh, that was a crazy trip or whatever, or that was a crazy experience, and it wasn't real, but it's not real, right? And like they'll say that to them. And like, no, that was real for me. Like, in my mind, no matter what, that was real for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it wasn't real for you. Like that happened in my mind. They manifested it so real, like so realistically that I believed it to be true. That makes it real. So I think that's just another slice of that whole crazy pie.
Well, yeah, I think that I think that's how you create your life. You create whatever it is. If whatever you believe, whatever you manifest, whatever you believe is gonna come true. Whatever you see in your mind is gonna come true, and it's real. A dream is real.
Yeah, to you,
right?
It is, yeah.
Because they've already scientifically proved that an imagined thought is just as real, feels just as real as an actual experience.
Right. Yeah.
There's no difference.
You get your heart rate up.
Absolutely.
You can get a heart attack in your sleep. Because of
there's no difference.
Yeah.
Your mind cannot tell the difference. And that's kind of what I was talking about. Your mind cannot tell the difference between a real experience and an imagined one.
Right.
So that's deep.
Yeah. It's
really deep. Because if I imagine it and I close my eyes right now and I picture myself doing something, did I actually do it?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Did I actually do it? I don't know.
I mean, I think it comes down to discipline and like how thorough and like I'm sure it could be that real if you practice at it. And you really, there's no hesitation, there's no disbelief in what you're thinking is real in your mind. I think it will be real.
Yeah. And that's where,
but I think to a degree. I think to a degree. I don't think like, I'm stranded on a deserted island. Like if I think that I'm eating food, I'm sure it'll help my body produce whatever enzymes I need for a little while. But eventually I'll deteriorate if I don't actually eat real food. You know what I mean? No. But I think there's a level. So you think if you really believe it? Because your body still has to process. I believe that
anything's possible. Yeah, it still has to process. I believe that anything's possible.
Yeah.
And am I to that level? No, not even close. I wish. Right. If I was,
awesome.
we'd
probably be billionaires. We wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Yeah, I'd be sitting chilling next to Mr. Trump and he'd be working for me. But I think that anything's possible. And I think and I want to say it was, don't quote me on this stuff, but it was something with, it might have been concentration camps when they had, they put the Jews in the concentration camps and stuff. And somebody was telling me, and I might have read it, that there was this group of people, and they were put into, it was some people put into a jail.
Jail.
It was in a prison, and I'll get more specifics on it. But they were in jail.
Yeah.
And every day, they would hardly do anything. But they would sit there, they would close their eyes, and they would almost meditate, basically.
Okay.
And they would, in their mind, they'd go visit their family, go say hi to their friends, they'd eat good food, they'd play, they'd have fun, they'd laugh. They'd just go through and they'd live their life in their mind the whole day. To the point where the guards started thinking that they were escaping every night and going and eating food and, because it was not typical of what they would normally see from a prisoner.
Right. They were like kind of happy-ish.
Yeah.
Like,
Because, I mean, imagine we were stuck in, this room forever, couldn't get out.
it was an awesome room, though.
I mean, it's an awesome room, but eventually I'm going to get tired of it and I'm going to want to get out. So if we sat here and we both close our eyes and I said, all right, Andrew, let's go, let's go over to, the beach. Let's go play on the beach today. Let's go hang out. Let's go to dinner. Let's go see our family. Let's do this, do that. And that's literally, they just close their eyes and imagine that their whole time.
Isn't that called, I think it's called astral projection? Yeah, that's what it's called. Where you can physically, like people practice this where they say that, I don't know how true this is, don't quote me on it, but like they'll give the example of I've never taken a flight to Brazil, but I've been there before because I practice astral projection, and in their words, they literally fly above their body, they can see themselves, and then they take off to Brazil and they wander around the street. Like, in some cases they're actually pretty accurate, and I'm not saying it's true or not, but it's true that the mind is powerful enough to where they believe they did.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think that's how it works.
Yeah,
I think if you break it down, that's how it works. You picture it in your mind and it happens.
Yeah,
you picture it in your mind and it happens. What makes it impossible for somebody is they don't actually believe it would happen, and now they put a different mental image in their head. You know what I mean? That's like
trick themselves.
Well, yeah, that's like if you put into your navigation system, Midwest Texas, somewhere in Midwest Texas, you put it in your GPS, you get to Arizona, and then you put, someplace in New Jersey. All of a sudden, you end up in New Jersey and go, well, wait, I want to go to Texas. Yeah. Well, you got to Arizona and you programmed New Jersey in there. Yeah. So now you're in New Jersey because that's where you planned it. Well, I didn't want that. No, but you kept thinking about it, so that's what you got.
Yeah.
You kept putting the information in there, so that's what you got. And that's where...
Yeah, the GPS device is your mind, and the input is what you're telling it to do. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I mean... Anything, my opinion, and from what I've seen and what I've learned, is that your mind, it determines everything. It really does determine everything. The one thing that I still am curious about, I think, is a subject that I don't even know where to dive into or where to even talk about it, because I'm not even sure, is what gives someone their determination.
The drive.
The drive, yeah. I mean, like I said, I believe that anybody's capable of doing anything they want. I believe that anybody can be, see, hear, whatever they want. Yeah. I feel like, that's possible for anybody. But to me, what is still I don't understand is what gives you the determination to do something where I don't want to do it.
Yeah, those people that naturally have the drive to do X or Y.
Everybody can want something. Everybody can say, well, I want $1 million, a new house, and a new car.
But only like
everybody
a small
wants
percentage
that.
Actually goes for it.
Yeah, only a small percentage actually goes for it and actually goes and tries to get it.
Or goes crazy trying.
Right.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of one thing I'd like to...
I mean, because I kind of think it ties back into where we started with free will, sort of. Mm-hmm. And I think everything from the moment you're born to the time you're born, era-wise, affects your obviously your input and what you're surrounded with, and I think that has a huge part on your drive. It could be your uncle has it, your great uncle or your great grandfather had that same drive, and someone might have mentioned it, and you're like, man, I want to be like, I want to bring that back to my family. Like, it could be anything. Like, I want to bring that drive, but. I've never heard of any professionals talk about it except for like maybe Kobe Bryant, but he didn't really go into detail on why he's always super competitive. And maybe that's the keys. Just are people would drive competitive and that's it, like plain and simple, or does it come from somewhere else, like pride or just for the sake of doing something? I couldn't tell you because I'm not crazy as far in that circumstance. I have drive, but I don't have like, that's all I have in my mind, 24/7 drive. I don't have that yet. I kind of think it's kind of unhealthy, but it works for them. And you notice, like even with athletes who go crazy, are crazy, they reach the success they want. They still aren't satisfied in a lot of ways, even with all this success. They still have that driving competitive urge.
Well, I think we're goal-oriented people.
Yeah.
And I think for us to survive, we have to have a goal.
Yeah.
So you'll see a lot of people, they win championships, they win games and things like that, and then they're still just as competitive.
Yeah.
Well, one, you have to still have a goal to be working towards. Because if I don't have a goal, then what am I doing? The other thing is that, you're only the best because of what you did. So if you stop doing what you did, you're no longer successful.
Until someone, do you mean until someone breaks?
No, what I'm saying is,
you're saying
if
like internally.
No, what I'm saying is that, if I say, well, I worked really hard and I was able to buy this car and make these car payments. Well, you still need to work hard to be able to make this, buy this car and make the car payments.
Yeah.
It's not like you get to the top and now you just sit down. If you're at the top of Mount Everest, eventually you're going to freeze it. You know what I mean? You can't just sit there and stay stagnant. You always have to have some sort of goal. I think what you're saying is, why aren't people satisfied with their success? And I think that when you have that willingness and this want to excel and do better and be the best, naturally everybody wants a goal and needs a goal.
Yeah.
The other thing is that...
But a goal is one thing, but going crazy and driving out family and friends in order to get
because it takes that.
Because it takes that.
It takes that focus and it takes that determination.
Don't you think there should be like a healthy... once you get to the top and get to where you want to get at, don't you think once you get there you should still have goals, but not necessarily... go 100% for each one of those goals. You know what I mean?
I think so, 100%.
Yes.
I think you should.
You think you should go 100%?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah?
Yeah, because what else, why are you living then? Life is not made to be easy. Life is a challenge. Life is like...
But it's still meant to be enjoyable. Not necessarily.
But are you enjoying that? I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying doing the hard work and I'm enjoying all this stuff.
See, that's the kind of what we're talking about. We're talking about that determination, and not everyone has it, right? We know that. So that would also mean that once you have a goal or don't have a goal, it means differently to that person whether they feel the need to go 100% for that goal or not. And they might be satisfied just having a goal in general, going towards it, not necessarily dumping their entire lives for it. They could have I want to do these 5 goals this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm super happy I have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And you might be like, I want to do one thing this year, and that's all I want to do. And what I'm thinking is like, why is that? Like, why would you want this one thing when you can be similarly happy with spreading it out and like taking your time, but still having a goal?
I look at really successful people. We talk about Kobe Bryant. You said something about Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
Guy makes a lot of money. The guy does a lot.
He was born rich too.
Of stuff. It doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I mean,
you know what I mean? But what I'm saying though is that like, why does he keep going? Why does he keep doing that? I mean, that's how he lived his whole life. Why would you change that?
I don't know. That's the thing.
Because if you get into a routine of doing that, if you get into a routine of doing that, then no one's gonna like ever want to stop.
Yeah, that's what it seems
like. You know,
yeah.
Because the same thing. If we flip it on the other side, now we look at someone who's sitting the bench or just completely unsuccessal. They don't just wake up one day and say, you know what? I think I'll be a rocket scientist, or I'll go win the NBA championships. No, because you're not just gonna like wake up and decide you want to do that. And at the same time, you're not just gonna wake up and decide, you know what, I'm not competitive and I don't like this anymore.
Unless you're Shaq. He wants to be a cop. He's a cop.
He's just
he's a doctor. He's like all these weird things. Like
he just wants to keep living life.
Yeah, which is fine. That's what I'm saying.
Good for him. Yeah.
People like you see like with UFC fighters, they grow up competing, training, and then once they are kind of forced physically to retire.
Conor McGregor.
There you go. You're kind of forced physically to retire because your body just can't take it. But they still have that drive and want. So they go to commentary, they go to teaching, so they still get that. They still get something, and it's sad to see because like you know that they really want us to still be in there.
I think with that, and I kind of want to almost end on this little subject is and talk about this on the next one is with what you just said. Let's say for example, let's take an athlete.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be any athlete. Their bodies are beat up, they're broken, and busted. They got arthritis, sometimes back pains, neck pains. Some of them die from concussions and things like that. But they're still there, either coaching or teaching, doing something, and they still want to be involved in it. Mm-hmm. And you say it's sad. I think it's amazing.
It's not sad. It's just because I've heard people express themselves that it's not ideal, but because they'd rather be in the octagon, they'd rather be preparing for their own fight.
Right, but you get like you're saying like they're beat up. They're just they've been through hell and back almost.
I think it's great to have an option to teach still. I think that's awesome.
Well, what I'm saying though is that and a lot of people go, well, I don't want to do that because I don't want physically. I don't want my body to get beat up. I don't want to have to go through all this stuff.
Yeah.
But if it's so amazing and the experience that you have is so influential to you that even when you're 80 years old, you want to get back in the ring, you want to get back in the octagon, or you want to still continue to teach people to do what you're doing so that you can have that same life experience as I had. Yeah. And people say, well, now you're going to live the next 20 years in pain.
So?
Okay.
Yeah.
But you lived the last 40 years of your life unsatisfied. So I traded the last 20 years of my life for an amazing, satisfying 40, 60 years.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
it's true. It's all how you look at it, I guess.
And, I think they understand sacrifice, and I think they understand that, what it takes. They understand that,
they've been doing it their whole life.
The pain that I'm putting myself through right now is going to be enjoyed here in the near future. And so they also understand that at the end of this, I'm going to be in a lot of pain. I'm going to be in a lot of discomfort. But at the same time, it was all worth it for what I did. And I think if we looked at someone who did, a normal position or a normal job, if, you went to a factory worker or, some person that worked in the mines or something, and they look back on their life and go, okay, congratulations, you retired today after 30 years in the coal mines.
Yeah.
Would you do it again?
I wouldn't.
No.
Not if you had a choice, no.
No. Most people would say no.
Yeah.
They go, okay, well now you're retired. Now you get to live the next 20 years of your life not working. Was it worth it? I don't think very many people would say that. So, it's like either, work hard for something that you want and push yourself to that extreme to where you literally sacrifice anything and everything. And I would rather succeed at this or die because the reward is so amazing.
Yeah, that's a good point. I agree,
and I think it's not easy though. Yeah,
it's not easy.
No, it's not. But
it's not easy for us to think. A lot of us think that way because we weren't taught to think that way. Mm-hmm. And I think we need a restructuring, kind of like a retraining of, and that's kind of what I kind of want to do with this. Like, even if we don't make an impact on most people, if there's like one kid who hears this, he's like 14 years old. He hears this. He's like, that's a good point. He's like, maybe I'll start thinking about this a different way. Yeah. He's like, maybe I'll tell my teacher I want to learn about something else instead of just memorizing stuff. Yeah. And even if his teacher says no, he's like, I'll just do it on my own. That's what I want. Like, I want to do something like that. Like, I want to help. That's what I want to do with this. Yeah, and that's my whole thought too. Because the way I look at life and the way I go about life is, I look at what is the end result. And for right now, unless I know something different or something, technology makes something different or, we figure out something, the end result for me is I'm going to die. Yeah. The end result for me is I'm going to die.
And I could die tomorrow, I could die next week, or I could die in 80 years. I really don't know that. That's one thing I'm not sure of.
Right.
But I know for a fact that I'm going to live my life exactly the way I want to and not be afraid of what's going to happen if I do this, what's going to happen if I do that, or, make sure that, I hope people tell me this all the time. Well, save your body because, when you get old, you're going to hurt. You're going to be in pain. Well,
you're gonna be in pain either way.
But I mean, that's
Most likely.
That's like keeping a white shirt in your drawer because you don't want to get it dirty. Well, you never get to wear it.
Right. Yeah.
I
mean, there's the extremes of like be precautionary, proper training. No.
Well, yeah. Don't go out to a gun range and walk past the targets while everybody's shooting because that's just downright stupid. But I mean, if it's something that you want to do, you look at all these people that want to go. I want to go skydiving.
Yeah.
I want to, and that's just something small. Or I see these people over in like different countries where they're like walking along the edges of buildings and like doing like parkour on a 30-story building.
So nervous. Yeah.
So it makes you nervous and makes you kind of like gosh. And I even look at that like get down. I was really like get down. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like what?
That's what they want to do.
I love life so much that I'm not afraid of it.
Right. Yeah. Well, actually, I think it's that. But also the fact that there are some people who are born with different senses missing, like different neurological things missing. Like some people don't feel pain. There's an actual percentage of people who don't feel pain.
Right.
So I think there's also people who just don't have that fear mechanism. And I'm not saying all of those crazy parkour kids don't, but I think there's some of that. But yeah, definitely what you're saying is people just love life so much they're willing to take it to the edge and to the limit. And it's crazy for us. It's impossible for some people to even fathom. Even getting up to the top of the building, let alone walking along the edge. So,
once you go to that extreme, then it's one of those exhilarating things. And I want to share this one last story, and then we'll
close it up.
Yeah, but let's talk about this again. More really dive deep into that, and really look at some successful people in business and sports because I really think those the mental to physical aspects and really the physical challenges are really where we start looking
at deep into that,
and also like what is how do we determine what our life's going to be like, and how does that like affect us, and how do these fears that we're able to overcome change our life. I used to work ski patrol, and there was this guy. You could tell that he didn't have really any developed skill. I mean it. Yeah. He was almost like just a wreck flying down the mountain.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he'd go off the biggest jumps. He'd do back flips. He'd do front flips. He'd do 360s, whatever.
And he'd crash every time.
He'd crash sometimes. He'd land and keep going. But it was odd because you could tell, it's like a race car driver. Put me in a Formula One car. Can I go fast? Yeah.
Yeah.
But does it look right? Does it look good? Yeah. Probably not as good as a seasoned Formula One car driver. So seeing him kind of look like this. So there's a couple other of us that kind of went up to him and said, "Hey man, how long have you been snowboarding for?" He goes, "I don't know, a couple days." What are you doing? This is a true story. I'm not even kidding. A true story. I go, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Whatever I want." And we're just looking at him, just like
in awe.
And he'd go off a jump doing a backflip and go, "Woo!" And he'd crash and get up and be like, "Yeah." So we're like, "What the heck's going on?"
Awesome.
So we finally talked to him and we're like, "What's the deal, man?" He goes, I got deployed to Iraq. I think it was Iraq. And he goes, "I almost died 6 times." Like, he's like, legit. Like, not like I was in the back peeling potatoes and I just came back and I got PTSD or anything.
Right.
He was like, "I literally almost died. Came this close." He's like, and there was a time where I thought this is the last day I'm ever going to live. He goes, and now that I've seen that,
yeah.
He goes, life is amazing and I'm not afraid of anything.
That's awesome, man.
And I was like, that's awesome,
That's
man.
powerful.
And he was like,
that's powerful.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, see you later," and then went and did like 6 more backflips and all this other weird stuff. But it's like that when you faced every single fear in life.
Yeah.
What do you have to fear anymore? You know what I mean? When you fear death, and then you accept it.
Yeah.
It's like that, and I think that was really what it came down to.
That's really all it is.
He accepted death.
Right.
He was okay with dying.
Yeah.
So now
he's good. He got a key to the previously locked door in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's what everything you fear. At the end of the day, people fear death.
Yeah.
And at the same time, people go, well, sometimes the thing that you fear is exactly what you want.
And on that note, it's got deep. And I guess we'll dive back into this again.
Yeah, let's dive back into that more, and we'll just focus on that one general subject, because I think that's really important. I think
we kind of
get a lot of.
It's my fault. We jump around a lot because like I have like.
Well, wait. What about this? Wait, what about this?
I have random ideas and
just
like,
random dumb questions, or,
dumb questions
that people think are dumb or whatever. But I mean,
so I'm sorry for my.
No, it's all good, because then it brings up more topics, more discussions. But I think again they all come back to the same thing.
Full circle. So thank you again for listening.
Thank you,
and hope to see you next time.